There is a poison in the world that silently kills 8 million people every single year. Let that number sink in for a moment. 8 million lives wiped out year after year. And in this century alone, this poison will claim the lives of 1 billion people. Yet, strangely, instead of being banned, outlawed, and eradicated, this poison is legal, mass-produced, and sold on nearly every corner of the world. Governments allow it. Corporations profit from it. And millions willingly pay to consume it, knowing full well that it might kill them. With all these clues, you already know what I'm talking about: tobacco. But here's the chilling question. If smoking kills, why aren't tobacco factories shut down? The answer isn't as simple as you might think, and what you're about to discover will change the way you see the world forever. Before we dive deep into this uncomfortable truth, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our eye-opening content. And let's aim for 100,000 likes on this video, because what we're about to reveal deserves to be heard. Now, let's get into it. The number of smokers in the world has reached 1.25 billion people, which is equivalent to 20% of the world's population. 965 million of them are men, while 285 million smokers are women. They consume 5 trillion and 200 billion cigarettes annually. And for those who don't know what a trillion is, this number is frankly huge. We use these astronomical numbers to calculate distances in space, and simply put, a trillion is 1,000 billion. That is, 1,000,000 million. So I hope your mind accepts this huge number. Cigarettes cause the death of 8 million people every year. And in the last century, the 20th century, imagine how many people died because of smoking. Get ready for the number. 100 million people died because of smoking. That is more than the number of people killed in World War I and World War II combined. Some experts say that the number of people killed by smoking will reach 1 billion in the 21st century, the century we live in now. Can you imagine this number? By the way, this number is from the World Health Organization. Yes, 1 billion people will die because of smoking in the 21st century. Can you wrap your mind around that massive figure? Here comes a very important question. Since everyone knows that tobacco and cigarettes kill such an astronomical number of people, then why don't governments ban tobacco? Why aren't there laws to stop the manufacture of cigarettes and tobacco? Why aren't cigarette and tobacco factories closed? And everyone knows that they kill such an astronomical number of people, so why isn't this poison banned from the market? Well, here is the conclusive answer. Tobacco companies are huge and very controlling. The tobacco and cigarette industry is considered one of the largest industries in the world, with profits comparable to oil companies. It's a massive trade, and the amounts returned from taxes on tobacco products constitute some of the most important incomes for countries. What many people don't know is that tobacco and cigarette companies are one of the most powerful lobbies in countries. You might ask, how is that? Simply, they work behind the scenes, indirectly financing election campaigns for members of parliament and governing councils. Then, those politicians who succeed thanks to the support of tobacco companies must, of course, return the favor. How? By preventing or limiting legislation that could harm these companies. It simply means that no law should be issued by Parliament to stop the tobacco industry or to put in place laws that harm the profits of these companies. The tobacco industry in general amounts to 3% of the entire world trade annually, and tobacco sales around the world in 2023 amounted to $886 billion, which is close to $1 trillion. The American company Philip Morris is at the top of the most profitable tobacco companies in the world, as it achieves annual profits of up to $7 billion. So the issue is business, money, and when there is money in the issue, and of course a lot of money, this makes governments salivate, as they cannot abandon the tobacco industry simply because it brings them billions in revenues. In addition, people have become addicted to smoking because of the nicotine in tobacco and its products. Manufacturing companies put a certain percentage of nicotine in cigarettes, which makes the smoker like a fish. When it gets caught in a fishing hook, the fish cannot escape. Therefore, this industry is in demand, and if there is no demand, all factories will naturally close. If governments close factories, the first to get angry and demonstrate will be the smokers, not the companies, because the smoker is the one who is in the trap, not the companies. Did you know that in the early 1900s, it was actually considered immoral for women to smoke in the US? It wasn't just frowned upon. It was practically unthinkable. This perception lasted until 1923, when a pivotal moment in American history turned the tide. During an Easter parade in New York, with a large media presence, a group of women boldly lit up cigarettes in public. The media called it the Torches of Freedom, a powerful gesture of rebellion tied to women's rights and equality. These women were not just lighting cigarettes, they were lighting the way to greater gender equality, even in death. They wanted to be equal to men in every way, including the right to smoke, and ultimately, the risk of dying from it. But here's the twist that nobody knew at the time. This was no spontaneous movement for women's rights. In fact, tobacco companies were the ones behind it all, funding the campaign to make women smokers just as common as men. Why? To double their profits. If they could convince women to smoke, it was no longer just about selling one cigarette per person. It was about selling two. One for him, one for her. I want to ask you, have you ever noticed how in movies, the intellectual, sophisticated character always seems to be holding a cigarette? Or how the cool, attractive girl in a film always has one between her fingers? Do you think that's a coincidence? No, my friend, it's not. There's no such thing as coincidence in the world of advertising. Those are carefully placed marketing strategies. Just like how you might see a particular car model in a movie. That's no accident. The car company paid the filmmakers to feature it. Same goes for phones, laptops, and yes, cigarettes. Over the years, tobacco companies have leveraged celebrities to promote their products without you even realizing it. Think of it this way. When a global star like Cristiano Ronaldo, who has over 600 million Instagram followers, flashes a brand in a commercial or ad, that brand is paying to use his image to influence millions of people. Tobacco companies have skillfully associated their products with everything that sells: masculinity, strength, sex appeal, freedom, and elegance. They've manipulated media to tie their products to qualities that we all aspire to, making us subconsciously link smoking with a desirable lifestyle. It's all part of a multi-billion-dollar campaign that's been carefully crafted to target us, especially by exploiting our cultural icons in media. And that's how tobacco companies have built an empire, by convincing us that smoking is not just a habit, but a symbol of something much bigger. As governments started cracking down on direct cigarette advertising, tobacco companies found creative ways to bypass these restrictions. They shifted to indirect, often deceptive, forms of marketing. One of the most effective tactics was paying Hollywood directors to subtly feature cigarette packs in movie scenes, making smoking look completely natural. An actor lighting up a cigarette seemed casual, even spontaneous, yet it was a carefully orchestrated advertisement. Take, for example, 1983, when tobacco giant Philip Morris paid Sylvester Stallone $500,000 to have him and other actors smoke in 3 of his movies. Stallone, the hero of the films, became the face of smoking in the eyes of countless viewers. This type of indirect marketing became widespread, and it's hard to find a movie from that era where the hero wasn't puffing away on screen. In fact, it's become rare to watch a film where smoking isn't portrayed. And almost always, the hero is the one smoking. This strategy worked because it's much more persuasive to see a beloved character smoke than for a company to just tell you, "Buy our cigarettes." It's no surprise that the people behind these campaigns, the executives at tobacco companies, often didn't even smoke themselves. It's all about selling an image, not a product. If you found this eye-opening, hit the like button so this message reaches more people. See you in the next video.